this.
Physically a lot more. I think that was the biggest change right off.
So Tiffany, also, I mean, it's amazing that Brad's voice is back. I mean, what does that mean to you as his wife, to hear him in a way that was taken away from both of you, from the entire family, through this terrible disease?
For me, I got used to his robot voice of the communication device with the eye gaze. I think the biggest change was
that's what she said.
His mom, who didn't get to see and hear him every day, and to have that come back for his mom, that was probably the best. Is for that to for her to be able to hear her bratty boy again.
All right. Well, Brad, thank you so much for coming on to talk to us about your story. It's amazing to hear your voice. Brad and Tiffany, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and for giving everybody watching some hope. You're on TV. Thank you both so much. Really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Gerald the Fish. What about, like, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, in Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
There's nothing like celebrating a big play. But now, we're celebrating something bigger than sports.
Love, you're mine.
Love?
You're mine.
You're training your mind as much as you're training your body.
For me, just stay grounded. Be with the people who make my mental health better and not worse.
So when you see us hit this, it's a reminder to
love.
You're mine.
This is Ozarks First News, midday.
Now at midday, we're learning more information about one of the suspects accused of murdering a Greene County teenager last month. I'm Stoker Weiswarek. A press conference just wrapped up at the Greene County Courthouse. We'll hear from Ozarks First Parker Paget in just a minute. Here's a breakdown of information we currently know about this case. 15-year-old Miles Young was killed on the west side of Springfield back on March 12th. Documents reveal Young was killed due to his connection to a murder that happened in Greene County last year. Investigators say Young was a witness in the murder of Jackie Straley and had plans to testify at the trial. Evelyn Worlds is charged with her murder. Now, 2 people are charged in Miles Young's death. 18-year-old Praise King was the first person, and 2 weeks later, 18-year-old Jeffrey Archega Elver was arrested for his involvement in Young's death. Legal documents say Archega Elver is from Honduras. According to the Greene County Jail roster, Archega Elver is currently being held for immigration officials. Ozarks First Parker Paget joins us live from the Greene County Courthouse. Parker, what latest information have you found out right now?
Yeah, none. They are not speaking about this case at all. It is still unconfirmed what case Mr. Young was a witness to. So we have no information from officials on what that case was. But this was a press conference held by Congressman Eric Burleson, State Senator Curtis Trent, State Representative Darren Chappell. Really focused on illegal immigration and pushing to address that on the federal and state level. Burleson speaking first, giving thoughts and prayers to the family of Miles Young, the 15-year-old that was murdered last month. It was really focused on the 287G agreement. That's something that I've reported on back in February or March. It's an agreement between immigration officials and local police departments to kind of strengthen and bolster them to do some immigration actions. So Burleson was kind of calling on county law enforcement as well as city law enforcement to do that. So we're going to have more details on this later at 5 and 6 on Ozarks First. Reporting live in Springfield, Parker Paget, Ozarks First.
Parker, thank you so much. Once again, Ozarks First has been following this murder case since it began. You can find all of our coverage on our website, ozarksfirst.com.
Well, folks, look at weather now. We got the Ozark Mountain Sports Complex. A little bit of rain activity down there in Ozark and the south side of Springfield, seeing some pockets of heavy rain coming into the area. Maybe some small hail, maybe some gusty winds, a little bit of thunder and lightning thrown in there too, but nothing severe really for right now. We're seeing some rain showers come on through from the north, and that's where they were this morning. They've worked their way southward now, getting closer to that I-44 corridor. So Springfield's sporadic, but then more widespread once you get up towards Lockwood, Lamar, Bolivar, Buffalo, halfway, right? Fair Grove, Phillipsburg, Lebanon, Waynesville, and Fort Wood, even Marshfield. Going to see some rain showers develop there. Then you get more spotty coverage. That storm we just saw on the camera in Ozark, right there, producing a little bit of heavy rain for you at times. From here on out, we're going to watch that activity continue to drift southward. I think by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, it's probably now south of the interstate. And we'll find that activity fade away for tonight. And we're dry tonight probably, and then dry for the most part for Saturday as well. Sunday rain comes back in, but then not until Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Keeping our eyes on a storm system next week that could bring severe weather back to the area. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
All right, Tom, thank you. We'll check back in soon. The Artemis II mission wrapping up. The 4 astronauts are set to return to Earth this evening after their historic voyage around the moon. Once they return home, they will have traveled nearly 250,000 miles between Earth and the moon. The astronauts say this part of the trip is bittersweet as they'll miss each other's close company.
I will miss being this close with this many people and having a common purpose, a common mission, getting to work on it hard every day across hundreds of thousands of miles with a team on the ground.
And our spacecraft is scheduled to splash down in the Pacific Ocean just after 7 Central Time tonight. CBS News will have special coverage of that splashdown. It'll get underway at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central Time, following Ozarks First News at 6. Route 66 Centennial Kickoff Celebration is less than 3 weeks away. Preparations continue for the 4-day event throughout downtown Springfield. One of the newest sites is this tall sculpture of the Colonel Hotel, which is the building where the telegram with the name Route 66 was sent from. It's just one of the handful of finishing touches here in Springfield ahead of the upcoming Centennial celebration.
This was a time when there was hope in the air and fun and joy. I think One of the reasons it's so popular is because that feeling of hopefulness it still matters to people. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is an opportunity for me and my team to show their best and to get some recognition. They've been working with me for 10 years.
We'll have special coverage of several events related to the Route 66 Centennial celebration on our streaming app, Ozarks First Plus. On Thursday, April 30th, we'll have live coverage of the kickoff concert. On Friday, May 1st, now we'll bring you live coverage of the Route 66 parade. And on Saturday, May 2nd, we'll host a red carpet extravaganza ahead of the Telegraph Ball. Well, the Missouri House passed 12 bills on Thursday as 5 weeks left in the 2026 legislative session. One of those was a measure to enact new fraud protections on the SNAP benefits program.
Focus on something else. Find a different target. Find another enemy. Leave those folks alone.
To be clear, this bill does not eliminate emergency services. It does not deny care in crisis situations.
Another measure passed in the Missouri House aims to allow firearm suppressors as long as they were made in Missouri. And one other measure would establish a grant program to provide funds to repair damaged grave markers for deceased veterans. A new report finds property taxes nationwide increased 3.7% last year. That's according to real estate data provider Adam. The report says Americans paid almost $400 billion in property taxes on about 89.6 million homes. The average single-family homeowner paid about $4,427 in property taxes to municipalities in 2024. Property taxes usually are charged by local governments. They fund public entities like emergency services, public schools, trash collection, and road projects. We'll be sure to keep up with Ozarks First through our social media pages. We have fun videos, interactive stories, and other important news from the heart of your communities. Be sure to find us on X, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, wherever you like to scroll. And coming up, we're serving the Ozarks this week, diving into why the Girl Scouts of Southwest Missouri are more than just cookies. Stay with us.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Best Reviews has an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
Gerald the Fish.
What about, like, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How did you get that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look
at the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
And now, serving the Ozarks. Sponsored by Patriot Heat and Air.
For the week serving the Ozarks, we're learning more than just cookie sales. Here's Carissa Codell as she takes a deep dive into how the Girl Scouts of Southwest Missouri play a major role in supporting local youth.
You can be a Girl Scout basically no matter what.
It truly is girl-led. What they want to do, it's our job as a council to make sure that they have the resources to do it.
Chris Upton says the Girl Scouts are about way more than just cookies.
It's about coming together and teaching these girls leadership skills. It's about making sure that they have everything that they need to be successful in this world.
Would you want to be a troop leader like your mom?
Yeah.
Meadow and Layla's mom, Jennifer, has been their troop leader since Layla started the Girl Scouts 5 years ago.
At the beginning of the year, I asked them, what are your interests? What would you like to do? What would you like to learn more about? And I kind of try to make it fit their wants and needs.
She was also a Girl Scout when she was younger.
It's another way to kind of make bonds with other girls that you wouldn't necessarily make bonds with at school or meet girls from other schools.
And the girls are extremely successful.
Last year I sold 650.
650 boxes?
Huh?
Really? Wow. Okay. How do you do that?
My grandparents buy a lot.
This room used to be filled to the brim with cookie boxes. The sales go towards funding all of the trips and learning opportunities for the Girl Scouts.
All the funds are raised during cookie season. So, and then we get to use that money to help others and have fun.
Cookie season runs for about 7 weeks.
So if you want your cookies, you better get them quick. I know some girls who will sell them to you.
Survey Ozarks, sponsored by Patriot Heat and Air.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
There's nothing like celebrating a big play. But now, we're celebrating something bigger than sports.
Love, you're mine.
Love?
You're mine.
You're training your mind as much as you're training your body.
For me, just stay grounded. Be with the people who make my mental health better and not worse.
So when you see us hit this, it's a reminder to
Love.
You're mine.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
All right, folks, hey, welcome back. Hey, guess what? If you want to catch us at a little meet and greet tomorrow, the Severe Weather Expo in Springfield, that's Saturday, April 11th, at the Battlefield Mall. Jamie, Matt, myself will all be there from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we'll hope to see you there. It's a collection of a whole bunch of people from the private sector, public sector, the media sector, anybody who has anything to do with the weather. They'll be set up there. We'll have a table. We'll have the storm tracker there in the audience, and you can come check it out for us there. So hope to see you by. Come stop by 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Battlefield Mall in Springfield for the Severe Weather Expo tomorrow, April 11th. All right, Springfield right now from the square camera. Things looking pretty good for you out there. And if you want rain, that is, we need some rain. Cloudy skies, a little bit of rain shower off in the distance. Nothing widespread. So it's not a downpour all the time, but there'll be downpours some of the time. 61 degrees now in Springfield, northeast wind at 8 miles an hour. And yeah, rain keeps on coming in from the north. The cold front itself is still to our north, kind of closer to I-70 and crossing back into southeast Kansas and eventually towards the panhandle of Oklahoma. So the rain is really just ahead of that cold front. But the cold front is slowly moving south. As it does, the rain is going to continue to move south, and it'll be focused south of the interstate by the afternoon. Right now you can see it's already pressing that direction slowly but surely. Rain just on our doorstep here in Springfield, Marshfield, Phillipsburg, Lebanon, Buffalo, Bolivar, Stockton, over to Lockwood, Dadeville, Lamar, Mount Vernon, Aurora, maybe. Yeah, you'll see some rain here in a minute. You've probably had a few showers down there. Zooming into the Springfield Metro from Rogersville, Fairgrove, Willard, over towards Republican Halltown. A few rain showers and storms moving on through. None of this is severe. We are finding some lightning occasionally near Carthage to La Russell and Mount Vernon. A little bit of lightning being picked up out west of Springfield as well. But nothing crazy. Maybe some small hail, maybe some gusty winds, but that's just about it. So zooming out to radar, northern Arkansas dry for now, but rain is on the way. All right. Rainfall total so far have been on the lower side, generally about a quarter-inch to a half-inch. Clinton, just over 0.6 of an inch. From here on out, and again on Futurecast, rain will continue to press southward. Maybe some thunderstorms at times, okay, south of the interstate, but I think by this evening, probably around sunset, rain fades away. We're going to stay mostly dry tonight, maybe a passing shower central Missouri for Saturday morning. If you have plans, Saturday daytime, we'll say about noon to about 6 p.m. Might be a stray pop-up shower here or there, but generally keeping the forecast dry on your Saturday. A little warm, too. Rainfall totals from today and then another round of rain Sunday. That'll just be rain. That'll be probably about a quarter-inch, half-inch. Some spots could pick up over an inch in heavier rounds of rain. A bigger spring storm is on the way, though, for next week. Watching a couple of days where severe weather is going to be possible for us. As we go to Monday, probably be to the west of us. But then for Tuesday and Wednesday, I think the ingredients will be right overhead. So wind energy, instability would be high enough. We're watching a risk of maybe some strong to severe weather, eyeing Tuesday and Wednesday specifically for those chances there. Between now and then, we got some scattered rain showers and a few thunderstorms today. Mostly dry Saturday. Rain on Sunday, kind of gloomy there. And then, yeah, we got more rain and storms to worry about come next week.
All right, Tom, thanks so much. Wildlife experts are warning about a potential increase in avian flu cases as birds make their way back north. The flu is highly contagious among birds. Experts say it often spreads through contact with infected saliva or droppings. It can pose challenges to poultry farmers, especially those with backyard coops where farmers keep their chickens. Migrating birds fly overhead and may land in yards for a visit.
If it gets in, then you will have to depup that flock because there's no cure for the actual virus.
The health risk to humans is low, however. It can cause severe respiratory illness or eye infections if you come in close contact with the infected animals. Springfield is rolling out the red carpet this weekend. The Missouri Comic-Con is coming to town. It starts tomorrow at 10 in the morning until 6 tomorrow evening, and on Sunday it'll run from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. The event is being held at the Ozarks Empire Fairground. They have guests ranging from stars in classic 80s movies to your favorite voice actors from anime, video games, and shows. Well, coming up, it's Friday. That means a four-legged furry friend will appear on our show. Stick around as the Humane Society of Southwest Missouri stops in for a visit.
Gerald the fish.
What about, like, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How did you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are now joined by the Humane Society of Southwest Missouri, and representing them, as every Friday, is Mackenzie Palmer. Happy Fist Bump Friday.
Friday.
Can't get your hands full there a little bit.
Miss Lacey here, so excited to be here.
She is excited, yes. We like an energetic dog.
Yes.
A big yard.
Yes, that'd be awesome, but she's super sweet. She's just, it was so funny. She was great in the car. She was just sat in the back seat, but once we got in here, she was so excited. She wanted to meet everybody.
Well, everybody likes being on camera, including dogs.
Yes.
Just don't know how to behave.
She's house trained. She's actually really well behaved. She attended our gala a few weeks back with all the attendees. She did so great. She's very affectionate and loving, not shy, not shy, as you can see. But she's a real good girl. She's dog and kid friendly. She's house trained. She is very, very sweet and loving. She's got a little bit of energy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she has a staff member off site right now that she really loves, or off
Yes.
camera that
Yep.
she's getting a little excited seeing her. So I apologize, but she's a good girl. Yes, you are. But yeah, that's Lacey. She's available right now for adoption. But she loves to run and play. She is really good on leash. Believe it or not, it's just sitting here more.
Well, new environment,
still.
people all around here. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It's a little
she's
excitable.
so excited. But yeah, if you're interested, our adoption center opens at noon every single day of the week. First come, first served with an approved application. You can view all of our adoptable dogs and cats online at swh.org as well, where you're free to come on in and view them all.
All right.
Through our adoption center. But yeah.
Well, very good deal. And you guys, of course, open this weekend like you are every weekend. Anything special going on at the Humane Society?
We've got some really fun promotions this month, actually. We've got a promotion with Justice Jewelers going on. We've got some really cool concert packages we're giving away. So a lot of that's on our Facebook page and our website. So if you're interested, definitely go check it out. You can bid for your chance to win some really cool tickets, some concerts. But yeah, we got a lot going on.
Right.
Check it out on website swh.org.
That's a good one to remember. Well, Mackenzie, thanks for being here today. And Lacey, we'll find your home soon enough. Don't you worry. Oh, I got our attention.
Excited.
All right, we'll be back with Midday right after this.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
There's nothing like celebrating a big play. But now, we're celebrating something bigger than sports.
Love, you're mine.
Love?
You're mine.
You're training your mind as much as you're training your body.
For me, just stay grounded. Be with the people who make my mental health better and not worse.
So when you see us hit this, it's a reminder to
Love.
You're mine.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
Well, Tom, I am very glad to see that it's warm out and feel that it's warm out, but with that comes the volatility in weather, as you can see.
Yeah, a little bit of rain showing up on the square behind us there. We got some scattered rain to deal with for today, and a few thunderstorms at times. Stray showers possible Saturday, but I dare say most of us will be dry tomorrow, Stoker, so you get some good time there for the weekend. And then another round of light rain comes through on Sunday.
Roller coaster of precipitation levels, it seems like, perhaps for the lack of a better analogy, right?
Yeah, a little bit, off and on.
Preparation is key, right? There we go. Well, thanks for watching Ozarks First News at midday.
Nora Marley was just 20 years old when she was introduced to a young man who seemed charming and loving. Months later, Nora was gone, leaving behind 3 siblings and a mother who now wants every mother to hear Nora's story and to tell it to their children. That's right now on Maggie and the Moms.
It's time for Maggie and the Moms. Sponsored by Tampa General Hospital.
A beautiful soul with a bright future was taken because she crossed paths with the wrong person who led her into an unimaginable reality, a life of drug abuse, human trafficking, domestic abuse. These are serious topics, hard ones to talk about, but we're so grateful that Amber Marley, that young lady's mother, is here today because she feels it is important to tell her daughter Nora's story. Amber, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We have been commemorating National Child Abuse Prevention Month in this way. For those who listen to my podcast, you know that we cover all sorts of topics, and I know that this one is heavy. But in meeting so many people who have been affected by child abuse and human trafficking, as I have been commemorating this month, I think it is valuable. I think it is crucial to bring you stories like this, and I know that that is your entire mission in life now that Nora is gone. Why is it so important for you to share something so painful?
It's very important for me because I want to do whatever I can to help any other parent out there prevent this from happening to their child, so they don't have to go through the pain, the suffering, the breaking in a family that this causes, you know.
And Nora's story really is one that could happen to anyone. She was just a regular 20-year-old with aspirations, a sweet, you say naive girl who crossed paths with the wrong person.
Mm-hmm. It started out with a friend that she made, a female friend, and this female friend she trusted, of course, a little bit older, a few years, and she introduced Nora to this young man, and then she would go out with my daughter to clubs, and you know, he would be there. They would run into him, and he started love bombing my daughter immediately.
How so?
Just telling her how beautiful she was and how he wanted to be with her. If another male friend that was with her was around, he would get angry and kind of like push him away. So some of her other friends had witnessed this behavior and from him. And they told her, they warned her, they said, this guy is love bombing you. And when she would speak to me about him, she would say, you know, I don't want to date right now, Mom, but he really seems to like me. And I would say, just take your time, you know, don't just jump in.
So what her friends, some of her friends, and you saw as a red flag right away, she saw as, wow, he really likes me, he really loves me. And so she got involved with that.
Yep. She ended up letting him in after so much of him pushing until they started dating. They started dating, and she would come to my house and speak to me about him a little bit and tell me about his mom and how his mom was always baking things. She'd say, you'd really like his mom, you know, because I love to bake. And she would say, you would really love his mom. She bakes all the time. And you know, I thought, okay, you know, that's nice. But then things started to change. My daughter started to be more closed off. She started to seem, after a few months, started to seem afraid.
You noticed this?
Mm-hmm. I noticed it. Her sister noticed it. Her stepfather noticed it. People that were close to her, one of her very good friends, that also had told me about the love bombing, noticed, but there were a lot of other things. She started not meeting her, you know, appointments and things like that. So she would set a time and date to get together with me for something, and then she would cancel. She would say she was with the female friend, maybe watching babysitting for her or something.
What was going on in her life? Did you know? When did you figure it out?
I found out that something wasn't right when she overdosed the first time, the one time she overdosed before she passed away. I had to pick her up at the mom's house, and she opened the door and looked at me, wouldn't barely open the door, and said, "Oh, you look, you must be Nora's mom. You look just like her." And I looked at her and said, "You mean she looks just like me?" And I kind of pushed my way in to get my daughter. And the woman kind of ran around the corner to her kitchen and was like looking around as if she was trying to make sure that I didn't see something laying out. When my daughter came out of the room, she was very out of it. She was getting sick. The young man was trying to insist in going in the bathroom with her. And I just wanted to get her and get out of there. There was several other young males of different ethnicities around the same age group all staying there as well. The mom said something to them.
And this was with that adult, that mother there?
Yes. She said something to the nature of, excuse the mess, I have 8 people living here. And I thought, that doesn't seem normal. And so I hurried up and I got my daughter out of there. Before I left, though, I had said to the young man that, you know, whatever your past is, whatever has happened, whatever mistakes you've made, you can change that. You can go forward. And I know it's going to seem hard, but keep going towards the light. Keep going towards the good. Things will change for you, but you have to try. He almost teared up for a second there, and I thought, you know, maybe something I said got through to him. But I didn't really quite know how deep all of this went. I just kind of, I said, this isn't a good situation. And I talked to her about that. And she kind of tried to, you know,
Did she tell you that she had used drugs? Did she realize?
She told me that what she believed she had taken was a Xanax. And she asked me, did the hospital tell me what she had taken, what it was that caused her to overdose? And they didn't tell me. And she said, did they say anything? She even gave me the paperwork, and it showed none of this information. And I said, no. What did you take? And that's when she told me, but she was questioning it. You know, she was kind of like, I don't know. She had this sense of, I could tell she didn't know anymore. Now she was unsure about what was happening. I found out as well later on that they were allowing her to like use the vehicle, and while she would be on whatever these drugs were, and if she got into any kind of, you know, banged up the vehicle or something, they were pressuring her to do OnlyFans to repay them.
Oh my goodness.
So I think a lot of what people will oftentimes just think, oh, it's just this person's just now a drug addict. And the reality is different. It
starts with drugs.
Right.
But then in Nora's case and for many others, it led to many other things.
Right.
You believe it was fentanyl.
Yes.
And you said that the mother liked to bake. And that was an important detail that you said right off the top. Why?
Yeah. Because I believe that many of these perpetrators will hide these illicit drugs, fentanyl, xylazine, anything that they can, in food items and beverages. They will put it on items the person's going to touch, just because if you just get a little bit in the system, it can cause addiction without the person even knowing. And more than just everyone's afraid of just getting enough to just die right away. Well, this is a little different. This is much worse. This is keep giving enough to keep you addicted and alive, but not knowing what's going on.
Creating an addiction, which is something you have come to learn is very much part of the MO for people like this, which shockingly is not only that young man that she met, but you believe his mother as well. Create this addiction in your daughter, make her dependent on them. That's another symptom.
Correct.
Another thing to look out for. How did they do that? How did they make her dependent on them?
So she ended up, I think, quitting or losing the job that she was working with the one friend, and that friend happened to leave and go to another job. But then all of her personal identification documents would start disappearing. So she would call me and say, Mom, do you have my birth certificate? And I'd say, no, I gave it to you. What do you need it for? Well, I lost my ID. Okay, well, didn't you just get an ID? Yes, I did, but I need to get another one. I've lost this one. Okay, so I'd help her, figure out what she needed to do. Then it would be her Social Security card. It was constantly...
These were all disappearing.
Several times. So then she wouldn't be able to get a job. So she'd be struggling to pay her bills because she couldn't find a job to work. Again, pushing her to do OnlyFans. All of the locks on her windows around the house were all broken off. After she passed, her younger sister and 2 of her cousins had gone over to her house to look through her things, and they found that she had a laptop up there, and they didn't think anything of it. Well, when we went back to her house to start gathering her things, the laptop disappeared out of the house. It was just gone.
And so you have a 20-year-old who is living a great life, is introduced to this person who introduces her to drugs. Yeah. She becomes addicted. They make her dependent on them, the abusers. She's now on OnlyFans because she has no other recourse and they're forcing her to do it. Yep. And that's what ultimately leads her down the path that led to her death. And we're going to pick up that part of the story right after this quick break.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
Gerald the Fish.
What about, like, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the ponds.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Amber Marley is here talking about her daughter's story. She was a victim of abuse in disguise because the young man that she met didn't seem like what he turned out to be. Someone who would lead her into a life of drugs, who would force her into doing OnlyFans, who would make her dependent on him. The last time, I'm sorry that to ask you about this, but you said that you wanted to tell us about the last time that you spoke with your daughter.
The last time that I spoke with my daughter was the day after Christmas. She had come over with the rest of the family for Christmas. We did what we would normally do. We played a bunch of fun games and everybody exchanged gifts. We ate. The next day, I was supposed to come over to her house to help her out with fixing a few things. So I went over there to fix the washer, which I had already gone over and fixed like 3 times prior. And I find out that the dishwasher is also broken now. And I said, why didn't you tell me? Like, you have to tell me when something's broken so I can come right away and take care of it. And I started to get upset and raise my voice a little bit with her. And she started to cry. And so I stopped and I said, I don't want to make her cry about this. So I said, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to come down on you, but it's really important that if something is broken, an appliance, anything, that you let me know so I can help you out. And so she said, I understand, Mama. And I hugged her. And I said, I'm sorry, for making you cry. I wasn't trying to make you upset. I hugged her and she felt relieved, and I fixed the the dishwasher and the washing machine. And I went to leave, and I gave her another hug before I left. And I didn't think it was going to be the last one. But after I realized that day, she seemed a little bit off that day too. And it turned out that she ended up going to the young man's mother's house sometime later on in that week. He was already in the county, so she was going over there, I guess, to see the mom. And I ended up getting a knock at my door at 11 something at night, and a young officer asked me if I was Amber Marley, and I said yes. He said, "Is your daughter Nora Marley?" And I said yes. My heart dropped, and he told me, "You might want to sit down for this." So I did, and he told me that they had found her, and I asked them where, and they told me, and it was at the young man's house. I said, then they killed her. They killed my daughter.
It was an overdose.
They said it was an overdose. The young man was getting ready to go on trial for attempting to run someone over with his vehicle with my daughter in the car just before this happened. And so one of my beliefs is that these people it was ultimately going to end this way some way or another.
Yeah.
But this just sped up the process because they didn't, they wouldn't want her to testify against him, you know?
I know that that investigation you mentioned to me is not closed. But this does not, I know that creates some sort of hope for you.
It does.
But you're stuck with the pain forever of having lost your daughter the way that you did. In sharing her story, though, you are finding healing because it is your hope and belief that you will help other parents. If there was a takeaway that you wanted all parents to have from your story, from Nora's story, what would that be?
I would want every parent to know that if they find that their child is all of a sudden different, seems afraid, is having bruises showing up on them, disappearing and at different times, not being open anymore like they once were with you. If they seem out of it, that they should just know that their child is still in there. They're the same person, and they still love you, they still need you. Don't think they're ever too far gone to save them. Just keep going after them with love. Keep staying right there in their presence as often as possible. If they're hard to get a hold of, you just keep pounding them until you get a hold of them. Never give up. Because my daughter, I remember her saying that to me at one point. "Mom, I'm still the same me. I'm still me. It's still Nora in here." And she was right. And every parent should know that if they see their child going through these things, that there's a possibility that there's someone perpetrating this abuse on them. But if they get too busy with work or other things in life, it'll be harder to acknowledge, it'll harder to see. So just pay attention and be there for them.
Thank you so much for that. I know that you have since partnered with other organizations that are doing the work that you're doing, and I'd like to talk about some of them. There's one that's especially poignant. It's the Empty Chair campaign.
Yes.
When we see an empty chair on a lawn, especially if it's purple, what does that mean?
It means that we're not just going to give up on our loved ones dying this way, and we're not just going to ignore it. We're going to do everything we can to recognize that there's still a spot for them at the table. There's still a spot for them in our lives. And no amount of poisoning, or abuse is going to take that away. We're going to stand up and we're going to fight back against this evil.
And so empty chairs are literally placed in random places to symbolize that?
Yep. Symbolize the people that have gone, that they're still here. They're still in all of us that are fighting for them. So we're not going to forget them. We're not going to forget their faces, their names, the lives that they lived, the lives that they impacted. We're not going to take that chair out of place because they deserve to be able to be sitting there. And since we're the ones who are still here, we have to keep going for them.
Amen. I want to talk about ways that we can help in this cause, and we'll do that right after this quick break.
Gerald the fish.
What about like Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
You do not look like a raccoon. This is Amber Marley, who has just so kindly and bravely shared her story that has brought you to tears, that has brought me close to tears, and has made me think, why is this empty chair between us where I can't reach you and grab your hand? But I guess it's kind of symbolic, right? Yes. That we do have an empty chair between us, because as we were talking about before the break, the Empty Chair campaign is one way in which these lives, like Nora's, are being remembered. Empty chairs are placed in different spots throughout the country to bring attention to this issue. Besides that, which I think is very important, is there something that the rest of us can do? Because we hear this story, and you have inspired all of us to, yes, go and talk to our children, go and tell them this story. But in addition to that, is there anything that we can do?
I think that, thank you. I think that the more that we open our eyes to what's going on around us, and we're aware of our surroundings, aware of others that we're interacting with. You go to a restaurant or, a grocery store, you don't know who could be involved in a situation like this that they don't even know that they're being slowly pulled into.
Yes.
There are several things that I know with research that people can look and find out themselves, but there are many different strategies and tactics that they use for trafficking people. This particular situation my daughter got involved in was considered what some would say the lover boy tactic. There are things also that you can look out for. Traffickers often like to mark the people that they're trafficking as symbolic of they're their property now. At some point, my daughter had said she had got some tattoo of a moth or something on her arm. And I asked her where she got it, and she said some gentleman that she had met had paid for it. And I thought that was a little strange, but these are kinds of things that you might not notice, but if you pay attention, you can see by someone's fear in their behavior, if they're losing weight, not able to eat frequently, sleeping at odd times, not showing up to their commitments, responsibilities that they would have normally had no problem keeping.
Yeah.
That starts to go away.
And you believe that Nora was trafficked because there were periods that she just doesn't remember.
Yes, and there were periods where she told me that she was with this friend in Orlando, but then one of her cousins had said that she told them that she was going to be in Miami. Then upon questioning the friend said, yeah, she's with me, and was posting pictures of herself, but no pictures of Orlando or Universal Studios where they were supposedly at, no pictures of my daughter anywhere to be found. So
that speaks to how trafficking doesn't look like what you always hear, like the kid who snatched and taken to this life.
Correct.
Right? This was somebody who was groomed
Yep.
by somebody who was her boyfriend.
Correct.
Who she trusted.
Yep.
I think it's such an important takeaway.
It is.
Because anybody could be fooled.
Yep. It's easy enough when you're young, naive, you're new to the world, you are loving of others, you're caring, you want to help people. So oftentimes those are the people who become the easy victims, that they can do it right in front of their families' faces, in front of their friends' faces. And even though the friends and family may say, oh, I know something's off.
You never imagine that.
You would never imagine that it's that deep, that it's that awful,
We only have about a minute left, but I want to make sure, because I want to make it a point to tell you how appreciated you are by all of our listeners, by me. Thank you for the work that you do. How are you healing through all of this?
I am healing well. I'm healing well. I have a peace knowing that she's with the Lord, knowing that she's no longer in the hands of these people. And God is getting me through. Jesus is good. I wouldn't have been able to make it this far without him. So him and all the supportive people along the way, my family, my friends, all of you. So it's helped me immensely.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Amber. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening and watching. We'll see you next time on Maggie and the Moms.
There's nothing like celebrating a big play. But now, we're celebrating something bigger than sports.
Love, you're mine.
Love?
You're mine.
You're training your mind as much as you're training your body.
For me, just stay grounded. Be with the people who make my mental health better, not worse.
When you see us hit this, it's a reminder to
love.
You're mine.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, in Israel. We'll give you an up-close look
at the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is submission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
According to her husband, Brian, Lynette Hooker vanished when she fell overboard and was swept away by rough currents. Hooker says Lynette had the keys to the boat's engine when she went overboard so that the engine cut off, forcing him to paddle for hours to shore to get help. He denies any wrongdoing, but he has been arrested by authorities in the Bahamas. No charges have yet been filed. The couple were avid sailors, documenting their adventures on social media under the very sort of jokey name, the Sailing Hookers. Their boating experience is fueling questions, though, from Lynette's daughter tonight. She says her stepfather's story isn't adding up.
I have a hard time believing that she just fell off. Even if she did, I don't understand why he didn't drop anchor and look for her, or even swim to go get her because he was a Marine. I'm concerned that his anger got the best of him in an argument, and he's done something that he can't undo.
Carly Aylesworth reportedly said the couple's relationship was volatile. This is according to Lynette's daughters. She released a voicemail that Brian sent her after the incident. It provided few answers to the many questions about her mother's disappearance.
Hello, honey. I just got a call from Hopetown Search and Rescue, and they have found a flotation device that I threw to Mom when she fell overboard, and so they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area, and they're still out there searching today.
Aylesworth has launched a GoFundMe page to help search for her mother, or as the days go by with no sign of Lynette, perhaps for a memorial in her honor instead. For more, let's bring in Dave Ehrenberg, former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. This is quite a case. So the husband's been arrested. How long can they hold him without charging him? In the Bahamas.
In the Bahamas, 48 hours, and then they can apply for another 48 hours. So that time is about to end. They need to decide if there's enough evidence to charge him with a crime.
How would they prove a crime happened? In other words, how could they prove, how would they try to prove that his story isn't true?
Yeah, well, there's no body. That makes it tougher, but they could
There's no witnesses.
No witnesses, no body, no cameras. But maybe there's blood evidence on the boat. What about GPS? I don't know if that small 8-foot dinghy has. Yeah, we don't know if they have GPS because that could tell you if the boat was stationary when it's supposed to be moving the whole time. Also, maybe a murder weapon. Could that be found on the boat? I think one of the reasons why they held him is to execute the warrant, to try to find these things. What about GPS on the phone? Your phone can be a tracker. Does it show the boat moving or not? There are a lot of unanswered questions. Like, for example, she's apparently an experienced boater. How does she fall off an 8-foot dinghy? Yeah, that's
well,
something
it's Saturday. They were in this dinghy heading back to their yacht. And it was late Saturday night. Maybe they'd been out to dinner. Maybe they had been drinking. I have been on a dinghy before, once in rough water. I thought it was terrifying. I had a life jacket on, but you hit a big bump because it's like being, hitting a big bump, a concrete bump on that's how hard that is. You know this as a Floridian. I'm sure you spent time on boats. She might have gone flying over the side.
Well, that wouldn't be murder, but if he was under the influence, drinking and carelessly driving the boat, and she falls over, you could still be charged with a crime.
What about the fact that the daughters are saying that they had a volatile relationship? At this point, there's no proof of that at all. That voicemail that Brian left for his stepdaughter sounds loving. Is that something that authorities will be investigating and looking into, especially because the daughters are saying this?
Definitely. Now, it's interesting how you described that as loving. I thought it was cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I heard it. Also, he had a social media post that wasn't exactly totally loving. It seemed like an alibi. It seemed like something you would post to just for public consumption, like a press release.
You're still the prosecutor, aren't you?
I can't help it.
Yeah.
Once you're a prosecutor, always prosecutor.
Okay, but you found it to be sort of establishing what his story was, because the story is it's around midnight. He says she falls overboard. She has the key to the engine around her neck, so the engine cuts off because that's how it works. If the key isn't in close vicinity to the engine goes off. And so he then says he has to paddle to shore and that it takes him 4 hours. It's 4 a.m. when he winds up on a beach.
Yeah, if he planned this out, that would be a great explanation because there are no witnesses, no camera. But you have the daughter there who knows them both, said it's a volatile relationship. He has a drinking problem. She doesn't buy it, so why should police? They're going to keep investigating, And they don't need to prove murder to charge him with a crime. And also, it's not just going to be the Bahamians. The Coast Guard has concurrent jurisdiction. They're going to be helping with the investigation. And it's possible that he could be charged in this country.
How so? How would that work?
Well, if the Bahamians find blood or a weapon, they're going to charge him there. But at some point, the U.S. may decide to come in because they do have jurisdiction and take the case.
Because it's an American on American?
American on American, and apparently it's an American vessel, and it's in maritime waters, so there is concurrent jurisdiction there.
All right, Dave Ehrenberg, it's such a crazy, awful story, especially for those daughters who are wondering.
Terrible.
Yeah, what happened to their mom.
It's no surprise that a high-profile celebrity like Sean Diddy Combs would try to appeal his conviction. Plenty have done it before, but you know what is surprising? The argument his lawyers put before a three-judge panel as to why he should be released from his 50-month sentence and freed immediately. In a filing, they say his infamous freak-off tape showing sexual encounters involving his girlfriends and male sex workers, they argue, were voyeurism and amateur pornography, conduct that's protected by the First Amendment. Here's the twist, though. That wasn't even the main issue in court today. It all came down to this: whether the judge appropriately punished Sean Combs by potentially using evidence and conduct about the crimes he was acquitted of in determining his sentence for the crimes he was convicted of. Remember, Combs was convicted of 2 Mann Act violations, with the jury finding he transported sex workers and his girlfriends across state lines for drug-fueled parties that he dubbed as freak-offs. But he was acquitted of the more serious charges of racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking. And it's those charges, the ones the jury said not guilty on, that his attorneys say the judge relied on to hand down a longer sentence. Sentence, they say, goes way past how others have been sentenced in the past. But prosecutors pushed back, arguing the judge followed the law and that much of what drove the sentence didn't rely on acquitted conduct at all. Now, the appeals judges, they pressed both sides. Ultimately, the panel didn't rule today. Could be weeks before we get an answer, which could be essentially throwing the convictions out or even directing Combs to be resentenced, or maybe everything stays the way that it is. Now, we're going to dive into the legal side of things in just a moment. But first, the question is, were these freak-offs really just amateur pornography? My next guest was there. Sheree the Punisher Hayes, an exotic dancer, former sex worker who testified in Sean Combs' trial that he was hired by Combs and Cassie Ventura multiple times. He is also the author of the book, In Search of Freezer Meat. Sheree Hayes joins me now. No one, I used to do trademark work. I don't think anybody's going to come up with that title.
Yeah, I tried to get my own lane.
So I'm happy to have you on. As I'm listening to this argument, I was thinking, who would know better whether or not this was just, amateur pornography, whether or not it was harmless? You might. You're listening to that argument. It wasn't presented in court today. It was in the filings. Thoughts on that? Was it amateur pornography?
Well, when I look back to it, it was a very choreographed, kind of streamlined scenario. And there was a lot of focus on the lighting, body positions, and I think I was not aware that I was filmed. I found that after the fact, but I can see where it was definitely something that was set up to be kind of captured in a certain way. So it might be some credence to that.
When you hear the way it's described today, when you hear the way it was described at trial, do you feel like a victim? Do you feel like this was a crime?
So I don't. In terms of my interactions, with all the details coming out, it almost sounds embarrassing to say, but it was something as a guy and interacting with this beautiful woman for thousands of dollars. It was something I was like almost proud of in terms of like bragging rights with the place. It was really shocking to me when all of the allegations came out and it became such a bigger thing. But I cannot look back and say any of my interactions because nothing felt uncomfortable in regards to her energy, the energy that I received in interacting that made me feel like anything that, if there was no allegations, it would be something I wouldn't think twice of.
Look, I'm going to get into the law on this in a minute with Mark Garagos. But essentially, generally speaking, the way the argument broke down today is how serious is it what he was convicted of, right? I mean, the defense would say, yeah, these are crimes, but you look at other people who are convicted of it, they didn't get this kind of prison time. It's not racketeering. It's not sex trafficking. It's not an egregious kind of crime. Whereas the prosecution was saying, no, this was really bad. This happened multiple times. There were elements of violence. There were elements of drugs. You will listen to the arguments today, not even getting into the law, but just listening to it. How serious do you think it is what he ended up being convicted of? How serious do you think it is, these freak-offs, these hotel nights?
Honestly, man, I don't think it's serious at all. I think everything was overblown. My interactions, you know, as I testified to, I didn't see any signs of distress. And then in the interim, since the trial, I've actually spoke to other guys that were involved in the actions and parts of it, and we all, you know, nothing that I can point blank see as it being anything more than a couple having fun in a kind of kink type of way, but not anything that I could even begin to say that I saw a crime or anything that is warrants these type of charges.
So let me ask you this. If this panel says, you know what, he shouldn't have been sentenced to this, I think he should be released. Or you know what, send it back down. He gets resentenced, let's say to time served. Let's say his convictions get thrown out. Let's say Sean Diddy Combs becomes a free man before April 2028. How would you feel?
I would feel it's warranted. I mean, I was actually at the sentence hearing, and I was shocked that he was not released with time served, and even more blown away when I heard 50 months. I just, you know, there were precedent cases thrown out there with people who were actually pimps that made millions of dollars, and in their convictions they got 25 months, 27 months. So I was really like completely confused when I saw 50 months associated with his sentence.
You know Sean Combs is facing litigation. You heard people testifying against him at trial. To those who say, Mr. Hayes, I disagree with you. I feel like a victim. I feel what he did was a crime. I feel like I was victimized by what he did. What would be your answer to them who say, no, I think 50 months is appropriate?
Well, what my answer to them is, I'm going to look at it strictly on the precedents and strictly on what he's convicted of. And when you talk about the Mann Act, which is transportation of prostitution, and there's no precedent where if anybody got 50 months or even half of that is the norm in extreme cases. I'm sorry, as somebody who, any of us can be in a scenario where something happens in our life and we have a court deciding our future. And precedents are there for a reason, and for a guy to get an excessive amount of time for a crime that people get much lesser penalties is just unfair. And I'm speaking on the fairness of it. I'm not trying to disparage anybody's experience, but precedents are there for a reason.
Well, listen, you have a firsthand account of this. I wanted to have you on. This is a big development. I'm going to go into the legal side in a minute. But Sheree Hayes, thanks for coming on, making your Jesse Weber Live debut.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Good luck on the book.
Thank you.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Best Reviews has an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you do anything, ever.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Gerald the fish.
What about, like,
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
President Trump's former press secretary, Sean Spicer, and a journalist who knows the president professionally and personally very well, Mr. Geraldo Rivera.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Sean.
Good to have you both. First of all, Sean, I see your face all squeezed up. Is that because you don't like some of the things that are coming out of my pie hole? And if so, what are they?
Well, with respect to the draft situation, that's just fundamentally not true. I mean,
Which
the National
part?
Defense Authorization Act, I'll explain if you give me a second.
I'll give you
the
more.
National Defense Authorization Act. Thank you. The National Defense Authorization Act, which passed earlier this year for cost-saving purposes, shifted the burden from having to go to the post office, registering for the draft, to just electronically doing it. It's a cost-saving measure. It was a really dumb thing. It should have happened a long time ago. I'll give you an example. When I was in the military, when my clearance came back up, I had to prove that I had registered for the Selective Service, which was ridiculous. I was literally in the Navy, and I had to prove that I had registered for the draft at 18 so that I could be drafted in the Navy that I was already in. This is actually a massive, smart, efficient, cost-saving measure that should have happened years ago.
I agree.
It has nothing to do with the current situation, and it passed a while ago.
I agree.
So to try to equate this to a draft is confusing people, it's misinformation, and frankly, it's what the American people hate what's going on right now.
And Sean, you do know, because I see your ears, that I said exactly what you just said, right? I said there is no draft.
No, you didn't.
There's not going to be any draft. The administration cannot unilaterally enact a draft. There is not going to be a draft. This is about registering for elective service.
But you tried to equate this to voter ID. It has.
I am equating it because what you did with voter ID, with voter ID, you want the burden on Geraldo. With this, you're shifting the burden, and we know why. Because you want more Geraldos signed up for selective service. And with voting, you want fewer Geraldos, so you want the burden on him, hoping he won't do it. That's my point.
As I said,
I want as many Geraldos as I can get.
It's a cost-saving efficiency mechanism for the selective service,
what it is.
which makes a ton of sense.
I know it. Yes, I agree.
Well, then to equate this to more or less of somebody is ridiculous. And the bottom line is, I'll take 100 Geraldos as long as they are legal, which he is, which you are, which I am. So I think that this is a false argument. I have been in favor of voter ID and for voter integrity purposes for 30 years. This has nothing to do with where somebody's from or what their name is. And to try to scare people like that is ridiculous.
I'm not scaring anybody. I said there's no draft, okay? Save it for somebody else. What I'm saying is that the mechanism involved here, Geraldo, is the same one. But the draft is a controversy, which was the first line out of my mouth that Brother Sean obviously didn't hear or pick up on. When you look at what's... Well, but then you put out misinformation by distorting what I said. I give you a pass, though. We're right after Easter. Rebirth and renewal. Use the gift. So, Geraldo, when you look at the messaging that's coming out right now about this war in Iran, what do you think about the state of play?
About the war or the draft? I just want to say Sean's in an awfully bad mood today.
Yeah, he looks sour, which is weird because he looks good. He's got the black shirt. He looks like he's ready to go out.
He looks...
You know?
It's navy blue, Chris. It's navy blue.
What's navy blue? You better get your eyes checked, brother.
Sure.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Geraldo.
What I'd forgotten, I have two sons, one in his 30s, the other in his 40s. I had forgotten that failure to register right now is a serious federal felony, punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine.
It's real.
You know, so it's very serious. I don't know how often I didn't have time to check how often that law is used and people are actually prosecuted. I suspect very, very rare.
Yeah, and
but
no women.
I like
and
the
no
idea.
women, by the way. And every time it comes up,
and no women,
somebody strips out women's eligibility. Weird. I thought we were past that. Anyway, go ahead, Geraldo.
Yeah, me too. But the idea that there is a registry of kids turning 18 is a good idea, and there's only could be a draft if Congress and the president decide that there is a severe national emergency. That's we've had plenty of ups and downs since Vietnam, and I suspect we'll have more in the future. But the draft, I think, is a non-issue.
Understood.
In terms of the state of play in Iran, I think that everything now depends on two things. One is, of course, what happens in Pakistan, these critical negotiations, ours led by J.D. Vance, and I think that he's going to be much more effective because he has been shown to be resistant to what happened behind the curtain as we got into the war in Iran. J.D. Vance was someone who, by all the reporting, and I haven't heard anyone contradicting it, was the one adult in the room who said, wait a second, getting into Iran's not as easy, and getting out is even harder. And I think that in terms of, the state of the negotiation, this thing with Israel and Hezbollah is horrible.
Yeah.
And I really call on, to the extent my voice means anything, Bibi Netanyahu to hold the sword, hold it. I understand the provocation. I understand. I've been in northern Israel a million times. I understand the provocation of Hezbollah, a bunch of punks. But to blow up Lebanon, we all have Lebanese friends. The man behind my camera right now has family living in Lebanon as we speak. I knew Rafiq Hariri, the Sunni leader. I knew Bashir Gemayel, the Christian president. And both of them killed by Iran, by extension, Syria, Hezbollah. They're assassinated. I worry that these negotiations will be fraught. However, I also believe, and this may be the topic of a whole other show, that there is something to say about commercializing entry into the Strait of Hormuz. I think that you can make a deal. You, Chris, are an able seaman also. Sean, by his service to the Navy, proves that. You know that every time you go to a busy harbor like Sag Harbor, there's a harbor master. They check you out. You go in, very often a fee to drop your anchor or to tie up.
Yeah, you just don't want it done.
You
just don't want the regime to be leading it. That's all, because they're a bunch of terrorists. Right. They're not mercantilists. These are terrible people. This is where we are. Sean, come on in.
I just want to pick up on what Geraldo said. I think it's important here that you've got he mentioned the sort of the bona fides and probably the angle that the vice president's coming at it from. I think what makes this nice is that I think you have a full spectrum. You got J.D. Vance. It's a little bit more consequential in his approach to what it means to deal with Iran. On the far other side, though, I think Jared Kushner is probably much more sympathetic to Israel and the plight that they face. Witkoff probably closer to Jared. My point is that when they go into this negotiation in Pakistan and pick up the phone and call the president at some point and say, this is where we are, you're going to get a very, I think, balanced answer to the president. If J.D. Vance, Jared Kushner, and Steve Witkoff are on the same page with their analysis of what the negotiation is, the president's going to have a very good read. It's not like you're sending all doves or all hawks. And when the president hears them speak with one voice, we got a deal or we don't have a deal, I think that's going to speak volumes that he knows that he can trust those three individuals to say, if they think they can get it. I think the big untold story right now, to be honest with you, is the influence of the Chinese on Iran's position. Left to their own devices, I don't think Iran wants to cut a deal. I think the Chinese are exhibiting a lot of behind-the-scenes pressure. They need that oil more than anyone else, and they may be the savior and the unsung hero of what happens this weekend.
Look, I mean, if the reporting is even close to accurate, the Chinese have said to the regime, hey, you need to slow down and you need to sit down because this is affecting us. Look, I'll be transparent. I don't like this team, okay? I think America can do a lot better than these three to negotiate with the kinds of people they're going to be sitting down with. But we'll put it to the side and we'll see what happens with it. Sean, help me understand why what Melania, the First Lady, just did is understandable to you. What is going on here?
So I'll admit, I heard your monologue, and I'm a little perplexed myself. But when I asked around, my understanding is there are a lot of rumors, a lot of fake news with respect to her relationship and the interactions that she's had. And I think for a lot of people, they're just sick of hearing this, and they want to address some of these things head on. So I give her kudos. Again, I wasn't read into this. I don't know how much coordination went on or why, but I think at a certain point, you know this, Chris. Geraldo probably knows this personally. I definitely do. That sometimes you just get fed up with what people are saying about you and you want to clear the air. And I had a feeling that today the First Lady said, enough. I'm going to speak for myself about what's really going on. And I think she didn't want any equivocation as to what that relationship was, some of the rumors that have been going around and being spread by fake news sites, et cetera, about their interactions with Epstein. I thought it was good to clear the air, to make it known, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on online about who knew what when and how did they interact and who introduced whom. Look, you want to speak with one voice, get it done with so that no one has to speculate anymore. And at some point, I just don't know that there's a good time. So
I know. I'm just saying that there may not be a good time, but there's definitely a better way. I mean, Geraldo, this has achieved one thing. One, people are wondering, it's kind of the doth protest too much because nobody was asking any questions about her. And now the one upside of the war for the president is that we're not talking every day as we should be about affordability and about Epstein. And now it's right back in focus.
I worry for her sake that it's not about something, not that was done in the past, something that's coming. My sense is that there's something coming that she was trying to preempt or dull, for her to walk down that corridor, to stand behind that podium. I don't know how often she has done it in the president's 2 terms so far. I suspect none, never. So there's some reason, and I feel for her. I think she's hugely underrated, a wonderful person with a good heart. We all come from someplace. Those of us who grew up in the New York in the 70s, 80s, it's a crazy place. I worry that there's one of those sleazy kind of big bang writers has something, and they're going to break it, and she wanted to let them know.
Geraldo, you've done a lot of.
Go ahead, Sean.
You've done a lot of investigation. No, you've done a lot of investigations. You guys are both in that sort of, I wouldn't say in the world, but I mean like in terms of New York and the buzz that's going on. Chris mentioned this. I hadn't heard anything, right? So there was no story brewing. There was no rumor mill. I think she's faced a lot of personal attacks and probably wanted to get ahead of something. I probably agree with you that something was boiling up and it was like, let's nip it in the bud. But the bottom line is what kind of concerns me or gets me wondering is in all of the, 10 plus years that people have been trying to reconstruct who knew what when with respect to relationships and Epstein, I haven't heard a single significant, credible rumor about the First Lady ever.
No,
and so I don't know what
not that goes to the exploitation of women and who knew and who benefited from it. I haven't heard anything. She is not a target for a subpoena. But this puts focus, and look, you got to respect her saying that the survivors deserve to be heard on this when they're all raising their hands. You're certainly not hearing that from anybody else in the administration. Let me jump, and we'll see where it goes. Sean Spicer, thank you very much for being with us. Geraldo Rivera, as always, love you, brother. Appreciate it.
The White House is preparing for these high-stakes peace talks in Pakistan this coming weekend. And given the fractured status of Iran's command structure, whoever shows up might not be able actually to guarantee the terms of any agreement. And, we already see that Iran isn't sticking to the original agreement to allow the Strait of Hormuz to open. The Iranians might be asking similar questions. Who's going to be there and who's calling the shots for the United States? Who has President Trump's ear? The mullahs will undoubtedly be happy to hear Vice President J.D. Vance is leading the American team. They had asked to negotiate with him. Vance is likely the least hawkish voice in the room. There are reports in the New York Times that he was a member of the president's inner circle who was very opposed to this war from the start. For more on the diplomacy of all this, high stakes as it is, I'm joined by John Bolton, former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. He also served as National Security Advisor in Trump's first term. Ambassador, great to have you back. All right, so Vance is set to lead the talks. Keith Kellogg said on the show last night, he told me that negotiating with the Iranians is like negotiating with a rug salesman at a Mideast bazaar. Do you agree? Are Vance, Witkoff, and Kushner up to the job?
Well, I'd have Secretary of State Marco Rubio lead the U.S. delegation. That's his job, actually. I think it's a big mistake to send out the vice president to meet some unknown Iranian, maybe the Speaker of their parliament. Vance is, by definition, the next thing below the president, and the stakes make that are there are made much higher by his presence. Rubio's a cabinet officer; it's his job. I think that makes more sense, and I think, in particular, you don't let your adversary pick who your negotiating team is.
Do you think they did in this case?
Welcome in, two dudes in a Doppler.
Volume
Jamie,
down.
we have, I know that this show has made it. You want to know how I know this show has
How?
made it?
How?
We have haters, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you know on top when people are trying to bring you down. Jamie, you're telling me someone sent an email in calling the show, it ain't two dudes in a Doppler, it's two frat boys in a...
We do a bunch of CTV shows. We actually do. I mean,
Yeah.
and this is
6 of them.
And you know, Tony was talking about how he responded. I did see this post.
Okay.
He responded to a post about it where somebody was complaining about the CTV shows that we were doing, and it's like it was something that was not there before that's there now, and you have a choice to watch it or not watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the choice is yours. If you don't want to watch it, if you don't want to waste your time watching it, then don't.
It's not like we're interrupting The Price is Right for two dudes in a
No,
Doppler.
no.
You know, it's not like, hey, you need to see this right now.
It's just kind of funny. But yeah, there was somebody, I didn't see this, but somebody had commented, you know, they were just saying that, oh, your CTV shows, you know, they're silly. And the point is, yeah, they're supposed to be kind of silly. We're not doing the news. We're not talking about tornado warnings, you know. We're trying to lighten the mood a little bit. And but anyway, somebody was complaining about our show, and they just said, what is it, a couple of frat guys talking about the weather?
Two frat guys in a forecast. Welcome into Two Frat Guys in a Forecast. What's up, bro? We're going to be playing some lacrosse afterwards, getting a nice tan.
If that was the case, it'd be like, you remember that movie Old School? With Luke Wilson.
Okay,
Will
yes,
Ferrell?
yeah.
Okay, so Luke Wilson, he's like, I want to say he's like in his 40s. He's kind of had this midlife crisis. Things had gone awry in his relationship, and he wound up going back to college. And when he went back to college, he had this house, and somebody got the idea, hey, we're gonna create a fraternity in this house that Luke Wilson had. And so I feel like that would be me if I did it.
I mean, why not? That's the start of it, you know? That's the start
I'm
of
an
it.
old man is what I'm getting at. I'm my those days are long past.
The college days are over.
Yeah.
But we are going to do something pretty fun this episode. We're going to do a new challenge, all right? Calling it This or That, where me and Jamie have to choose either one or another unlikely scenario. That doesn't mean that we're saying one of these unlikely scenarios is going to happen, but we got our back against the wall. We have to pick what is going to be more likely. I don't know if we're going to agree on some of these. We may.
I feel like we might. I feel like
we'll see.
Okay,
we'll see.
I didn't bring a pen in. Maybe I should have. You know,
Taking
you have
notes.
your pen though, so you can be like, yeah, Jamie got that one, and I said no.
Keeping score.
Okay.
Let's get into the first one. Gary, pull up that This or That for me. Let's start this little game challenge.
Go, Gary!
This little game show between the two of us. Welcome to This or That. It's a game that you can play along with us. We are two meteorologists. You can just be a viewer at home and try to figure out what's going to be happening.
And there's no right answer.
Some of them there could be a right answer. We can,
in the end, maybe.
Oh, for
but
at
like
this
right
point in
now,
time,
there's no right answer. It's just
it's what your heart
It's
believes.
an opinion.
It's what the science is telling you. Gary, if you can, go to that next slide. Let's go to kind of the next one for us. This is just a disclaimer. We're not saying either of these are going to happen. It's a game of what's more likely. Do kids get another snow day in April, or do we see just a single snowflake in May? That has happened before. We have had snow all the way until May. It's rare. The latest we've ever seen, I think, is May 4th, maybe May 5th. That's the latest that we've had some official snowfall. So do we get a good old snowstorm? Are kids going to have one more chance to get out of school? Or do we just see a single snowflake in May? You have to say either or. You can't say neither. Which side do you want to kind of lean on, Jamie?
For me, I'm going to say easily April snow day.
Really?
Is more likely than a single snowflake in May.
Man, the thing is, I'm in the boat where I don't think either one happens. So I'm asking, the question comes down to, do we get 2 inches of snow in April? Or do...
You can't say neither. Remember, you have to say...
I know. Hold on. Or do we get below 32 in May? And I think it's more likely that we get just maybe a dusting of snow in April. And you have to hope that a superintendent does not want to go to school. And he's like, hey, that's a dusting of snow. That's too bad for the buses. Yeah. We're canceling it. But, yeah, this is the game that you got to play. We're typically done with snow by April.
Yeah, a lot of years.
And
not every year.
Not every year. This year has also been staying very warm. Had that warm March, 90-degree temperatures. Haven't even been close to getting snow chances.
Crazy number of 80-degree days, yeah.
Crazy record highs on that as well. So I'm leaning with maybe the April snow day if I had to pick. I don't feel good about either one.
I feel like it's a lot more likely to have an April snow day. I mean, I can think of a couple of Aprils just right off the top of my head where it might not have shut down schools, but we had an inch of snow mid-April.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to say there were this is what was weird. This was like in the 2010s. There were back-to-back Aprils on the same day where we had like highs in the mid-30s and we had some snow.
Okay.
Snow that like covered like grassy surfaces.
And those snows are, I call them fun snows because it snows and then it's gone the next day. It struggles to stick to the ground. It's typically really good for building snowman. It's really good for snowball fights. They don't last for too long. The impacts aren't as bad as a winter storm that comes in January.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's not something that's going to shut down all the grocery stores for a week. It's, hey, we get snow for now and then tomorrow.
I was going to say, I call them miserable snows. I hate seeing...
You just want to be done by that point?
Yeah, because it's like, I mean... I guess for me, it's like you start seeing all the signs of spring, right? Yeah. Stuff is flowering, the grass in your yard's getting green again, the leaves are starting to come out on the trees, and then you wake up and you see an inch of snow on all of that. That's just, it breaks my heart, makes me feel bad. It's kind of like that freeze that we had back in March. Everything was coming out, and then we just got hammered with that one.
Just killed all the plants.
Yeah, it was mid-March. We got just hammered with that one cold wave.
Yeah. Jamie, I'm surprised. We're 1 for 1. We're agreeing on this. Gary, go on down. Give me the next one after this. So we got the snow one. Should be another. All right. This one is very interesting. So spring last year was incredibly warm. A whole lot of rain. I believe it was the 7th most rain we've ever saw in a spring. Over 22 inches of rain. And also a whole lot of tornadoes on top of that. Missouri got 107 tornadoes just in those 3 months of spring. So I'm asking, we had 2 extremes last year. Whole lot of rain, flooding concerns, an extreme amount of tornadoes. Which one is more likely? What are we going to beat? Are we going to get to 108 tornadoes or 23 inches of rain?
I feel like if I had to go with one over the other, I would say the rain. It would be more likely that we would have lots of rain than to see that many tornadoes again. I mean, that was last year, that was the second most tornadoes ever recorded in the state of Missouri.
Yes, and you have to go back to, I believe, 2011.
Yeah.
The year that we had the super outbreak, the year that we had the Joplin tornadoes. Yeah. So you have to go back a while to get back to what we just did
a lot of
year.
those tornadoes last year in Missouri, I mean, they weren't little guys. I mean, last year it was a spring where we had, because I feel like here in the last 30 years, there's a lot of stuff that is being counted as a tornado that 30 years ago would not have been. It would have been counted as straight line winds. But there were big tornadoes last spring, especially southeast Missouri. So, and even in the St. Louis area, remember in May, they had that EF3.
The way that we get up to 100 tornadoes in this spring is it's going to have to be very ticky-tack. It's going to have to be EF0, EF1, EF0, EF0, EF0.
Yeah.
And this is also that counts for the entire state of Missouri. So if they happen north of I-70, that counts for that total. I don't think we see as strong of a tornado season for this spring than what we saw last spring. And that's a matter of number of tornadoes and intensity of tornadoes. I think both of those will start to get closer to average. We are getting into April, April showers are knocking in, and right now that feels like the safe bet is saying a whole lot of rain for the start of April, and that's going to continue into the end of spring. So
a lot of the seasonal guidance, when you look at April, you look at May, a lot of the seasonal guidance is saying that it's going to be a wetter than normal spring. But like you pointed out, last year, very wet spring, also very stormy.
Yes.
The two do go hand in hand. So
Yes.
a lot of times if you have a very wet spring, that means you got a lot of thunderstorms generating the heavy rainfall. A lot of thunderstorms, you're going to get some severe weather out of that.
Well, you can get 4 inches of rain in one day.
Yeah.
And that's how you really start to add up to these problems. I know West Plains had, I think, 7 inches of rain in 1 month. They followed up with another 7 inches of rain in 1 month, and most of those were coming in big events. So I'm upset that me and you are both agreeing at this point.
I'm not.
So,
I'm okay
Gary,
with that.
take me to the next one. We're still 2 for 2. I have no clue if these are going to pan out. So the snow day, we both said April. We both said more rain. This one, I'll go first. I think you went first on the last one. I'm going to take freezing temperatures. Now, we're filming this in March, towards the end of March. People, you're probably watching it into April.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing anything immediate that says, when I'm forecasting currently that we're getting below 32, I don't see anything immediate that says we're getting to 90. But I do see temperatures getting into those lower 40s, into those upper 30s. I feel like it's closer to get to freezing temperatures. Generally, the trend for April is I do think we will be on that warmer side. But 90 is hard to hit.
It's hard to get to.
Hard
it
to
is.
get to.
We hit 90 in Springfield in March. That was the first time we hit 90 in March since 1929.
Only done it 3 times ever.
You
have to go back over 100 years since we did it last.
Yeah. So it was crazy that the intensity of the heat that we had. I think for me, this is an easy call. I'm going to say yes. We're going to see freezing again before we hit 90.
You're just trying to match me. I think to get to 90, you need something. In April, it doesn't have to be historic, but it has to be. You need a lot of ducks to line up. You need a lot of things you need the jet stream to push all the way up to Canada. You need a warm air mass. It can't be with too much humidity. You need fast winds from the southwest.
Yeah.
To get cold, it's just, there's a strong cold front that moved in. Now we're below freezing.
Yeah.
And typically, the last freeze day is April 15th?
Mid-April.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the folks around here tell you, don't put anything in the ground that you don't want to get hurt by cold until after April 21st. In fact, I think they usually say like after Mother's Day.
Yeah, I've heard some people say after Easter. I think that's too early, especially if Easter occurring in early Easter occurring in early April. Mother's Day is always a safe bet, but man, I was hoping we'd disagree more. Jamie, whatever this next one is.
Another one?
I'm going to we got 2 more.
2 more.
Whatever the next one is, I am going to adamantly disagree with you. So I will let you go first, and I will form the case.
All right.
For the opposite side.
Gary, let's go for it.
I will slam the table if I have to.
Gerald the fish.
What about like Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
Joaquin Bartholomew. How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
What's more likely, Jamie, that we get an EF5 tornado last year
in the nation?
Yes, not in Missouri. Anywhere in the world that we get an EF5 tornado. Last year broke the streak of, I believe, 12, 13 years. We had a drought of 12 years without...
2013, I think, was the last EF5.
So it's
before
yeah.
last year.
So 12 years since we've had an EF5 tornado. That drought has busted. What's more likely? We get another one of those, or we have a mass casualty flooding to the scale of what happened in Texas with Camp Mystic.
Well,
that is
Matt and I were talking about this question, and for me, it's like Camp Mystic was a top tier flooding event in terms of death.
Yes.
I mean, it was over 100 people killed in that flash flooding.
Happened on a holiday weekend.
Yeah,
happened at a time where there wasn't really sirens to get people safe.
But I would say, for me, it's more likely that you're going to have a major flooding event that could lead to, 10, 15, people losing their lives than an EF5.
I'm going to take the other side of this, and it's not because of, this is more, I'm playing the game. And for the last 12 years, we're in that EF5 drought. Meteorologists were scared to be the ones to end the drought. And there was a lot of tornadoes that arguably could have been an EF5 that a lot of people were saying, we're showing signs that this could have been an EF5, and they didn't want to be the ones to end the streak. Because the last two EF5s before the one in North Dakota was the Moore tornado that just leveled the town, and the Joplin tornado in 2011. And people thought we have to have that level of destruction before we ever declare an EF5 again.
2011, I want to say there were 6 EF5s in 2011. And there, like you said, I mean, there were tornadoes since 2013, between 2013 and 2025. There were tornadoes that arguably produced EF5 level damage. And sometimes it's because the tornado occurs in an area where there's nothing for the tornado to damage. So how do you rate what is a damage scale if there's nothing to damage?
It's stuff like the Quad State tornado, the Mayfield tornado in December, I believe,
2021. I think it was 2021.
That was another one people were kind of hammering, hey, this should be an EF5. The El Reno tornado, that was what people were screaming, that should be an EF5. Meteorologists were kind of scared to burst that bubble to make the next EF5. And I think now that the precedent has
Rolling
been set.
Fork, Mississippi was another one.
Rolling Fork. So a lot of these that should have been labeled that, but no one wanted to be the one to pull the trigger. I think that stigma is going to disappear, and I think there's more chances that
maybe
we get that classification.
EF5s are incredibly rare, though.
Yes.
I mean, it's less than 1% out of the total volume of tornadoes you get on a yearly basis.
They're not like, people like to compare them to Category 5 hurricanes, and you get a handful of Category 5 hurricanes a year. It goes a long, long time until you get a tornado of that scale of EF5.
I think for flash flooding, though, I mean, because we're talking about flash flooding, mass casualty event, I think that's it's easier for that to happen because a lot of these flash flooding events are, they're going to happen in areas where, folks are, camping, things like that. So you get into the summer season, you're going to get these, you're going to get these storm complexes that might drop 10 inches of rainfall. And if that happens in the wrong spot, at the wrong time, you can get a lot of people that are killed. I would say that every spring and summer, you're going to get major flash floods somewhere in the country. The question is it going to happen when there's a lot of people?
That's the same argument I have for an EF5 tornado. Is if there's a giant tornado, but it happens over a farmer's field, it's a matter of a tree falling in the woods. It's the same situation with flooding, is if it happens in an area that can handle that type of impact, not going to be a whole lot of casualties. But if it happens at a Camp Mystics, where you have people that are camping right along a river on a holiday weekend, that's a recipe for disaster.
Well, and we've talked about this. There was a guy that worked at the National Weather Service not too long ago. I think he's down in Lake Charles now, Doug Kramer.
Yeah.
And we talked about, what is because this is after Joplin, he and I were having this discussion. He's like, what's going to be the next major weather disaster? And he always felt like the next major weather disaster in this part of the country would be flash flooding. I can think back in the time that I've been here, there have been instances where we have these just incredible flash flood events on rivers that people camp right next to.
Yes.
And if these people aren't evacuated properly when these rivers, because you go from literally like a river that might be 1 or 2 feet deep, well, if the rain falls in the wrong spot to a high enough intensity, you could see that river literally jump, just like at Camp Mystic, literally see that river jump feet over the matter of minutes.
We both talked after Camp Mystic, and we wanted to be very clear. We said, guys, make no mistake, what happened there can happen here. You look at places like Roaring River, you look at Niangua, Buffalo, James River, places that people like to camp along.
Right there
and
at
if
water's
it rises
edge
in the middle of the night and people aren't prepared, the same thing, that mass casualty event can happen here. I hope it never does, but there is not a reason why the same thing can't be taking place in our area.
That was Doug's opinion. And that I agree.
Gary, I think we have one more. Probably the most highly debated one. We disagreed on one of them. I think we may disagree on this last one as well. If you can go to that very last one for me. All right, Jamie. What is more likely? That Jamie Warner will lose his first Terrible Tie Challenge. He is 3-0 in Terrible Tie Challenges. Or our most accurate streak, which is now up to 10 years. I know that beautiful cake says 8 years. It's the streak extended to 10. Which is going to bust? We have two things that just never happen. Jamie always wins Terrible Tie, and this streak of most accurate has now continued for a decade. Which one's going to shut him down first, Chief?
I'm going to lose a Terrible Tie contest.
I just wanted you to hear it. That's all it was. I just wanted to hear the words of "I'm going to lose to you, Matt." I just wanted to hear it.
When we started the show back in late fall, I was trying the Terrible Tie on. I was like, man, I'm going to be wearing this. I'm going to be wearing it all the time. I might as well figure out how I want to wear it. So, yeah.
I just wanted to hear that from you. That's all that was. This was not a game about what's more likely. That was a game of let's make Jamie Warner either admit he's going to lose to me or lose this most accurate streak. Either one is going to be entertaining for me.
I will definitely lose the Terrible Tie Challenge.
Yes, you will. You'll have to wear that tie on air.
Yes, I will.
We're going to go to one quick preview of March, because we're filming this at the end of March. We're about to go to April. We've talked earlier. April showers are going to be forming. It doesn't look like anything extreme with tornadoes this year. It doesn't look anything extreme with massive flooding. I think it'll be a little bit more muted of a spring from what we saw last year, but has been warm. Gary, if you can, pull up the warmest temperatures in 2026, the mark to beat. The coldest temperature is 90 degrees in Springfield, 96
man, I look
in
at that,
Harrison.
I look at that. Yeah, Harrison, Arkansas, 96 degrees is just insane to me. I mean, look at West Plains, 94, 93 in Joplin. This has been, and we can go back to December. I mean, the bursts of warmth that we've had. Okay, so this past winter was a La Nina winter. And one of the hallmarks of a La Nina winter is you tend to be in it tends to be a warmer winter, and you get bursts of cold. So the underlying theme is warm winter with bursts of cold sprinkled in. That's absolutely what happened.
Yeah.
But the extremes that we saw were incredible. I mean, That historic heat wave that we had back during the holidays in December.
Getting to 77 degrees. We got the warmest temperature ever recorded in December.
How many days in a row did we hit 70? It was like 6, I think.
I think it was 5 straight days with record highs, 6 straight days with 70-degree temperatures.
Yeah.
And
that's at Christmas time. I mean, at Christmas time, to get to 70 one day is rare.
Yeah.
To do it over the course of a week is just insane. And then we got into January, same thing. First half of January, just warm, warm, warm. Then we had the snow and the cold at the end of January. And then we got into February, and for the most part, it was like warm, 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 warm. March, more warm, warm, warm. And then we had that burst of cold that I hated in the middle of March, where we had a high of 28 degrees on a Monday. And then the next day it was 45, and we had morning lows in the teens, and it nailed everything in my yard. I'm still mad about it. Still trying to recover.
But
makes me sad.
Over the last 2 weeks, we had 6 days that were setting records.
Yeah.
So,
and not just hitting 80, but going like into the upper 80s days in a row, or hitting 90. We hit 90 out of that streak once. And then at the tail end of March, doing it again with highs back in the 80s.
What I've been seeing for April is I think things will generally get a little bit closer to average. We'll definitely have those more rain chances. That's definitely to start the month off on April. But the records that we had in March has been incredible. I don't see, we were talking about what's more likely, April snow. I don't see anything that screams snow.
No.
I don't see anything that screams a hard freeze.
I do think that, I think that April may follow the same pattern as March and really previous months, where it's like generally it's warm, but there'll probably be some bursts of cold in there.
You're going to be frustrated when those happen. You're going to be out in your garden shaking your fist at your Japanese maple tree and your what else you got growing that just died out there? About 30 seconds.
I had
we got about 30 seconds. Can't list everything.
I had hyacinth. I had tulips coming up. I had peonies that were coming up, and all of that stuff survives, but it's like it gets reset. So now you have to wait a few more weeks for things to look like spring again.
Wait for the cycle. Speaking of waiting for a few more weeks, people only have to wait one more week for our next episode of Two Dudes in a Doppler. I thought it was fun doing a little this or that. The two frat bros in the forecast.
The bros.
We're going to let you guys know. We'll be back next week. We'll have more fun. We'll show you some crazy videos. We'll talk about whatever thing in the weather world is happening. Thanks for watching.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews has an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
There's nothing like celebrating a big play. But now, we're celebrating something bigger than sports.
Love, your mind.
Love? Your mind.
You're training your mind as much as you're training your body.
For me, just stay grounded. Be with the people who make my mental health better and not worse.
So when you see us hit this, it's a reminder to
love
your mind.